What's up? This is Jared from the Dirty Heads. You are listening to Recess with Spinelli.
You are tuned in to Recess with Spinelli here on WSPN, Saratoga Springs, New York, Hoxton FM, London, England, the International Radio Festival in Milan, Italy, and the New York State Music Blog. And today we are here with Jared of the hip-hop and reggae-influenced alternative band from Huntington Beach, California, the Dirty Heads. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
How has the tour been so far? I understand you just came from Burlington. Is there anything coming up that you're really looking forward to? We're in Clifton Park today.
I'm excited about New York. The Paramount has a really cool venue, and I'm getting tattooed by tattoo artists. I've been waiting to get tattooed for a while. All the shows have been really good, a lot of sellouts. It's a fall tour. It's a little gray and cold and rainy, and we're in the hurricane, so there's not a lot to do outside of the shows. So we're really just looking forward to, the hour and a half that we play.
Is there any special meaning with the tattoo you're getting in New York?
I'm getting a Spirited Away tattoo, one of my favorite movies from Studio Ghibli, one of my favorite animation studios, and I'm getting a no-face tattoo. And the guy Purge Tattoo, at Purge Tattoo on Instagram, PERJ Tattoo, is phenomenal when it comes to like anime and stuff like that.
So do you typically get a tattoo on each one of the tours?
It depends. A lot of the time, yeah. When we're in Berlin, I got tattooed by a guy that I've been tried to get tattooed by for years and years and years, and he never comes to the States. So it's really cool traveling and being a tattoo collector. It's worked out for me because I've got to be able to go and work and then get tattooed by these guys rather than kind of fly on my off time, Now,
in a way, does it also carry a couple of memories from each tour whenever you get a tattoo?
Yeah, the tattoos might not necessarily have anything to do with the tour, but I can kind of place a date and a time, to that tattoo and what tour we were on and things like that. So it's definitely cool.
Now, many bands, whenever I speak to them, they say traveling is definitely one of the best aspects of making music and being able to get around the country or the world. Would you also agree with that? And if so, what are some of the highlights about traveling?
Yes and no. I feel like you don't really get to see a lot of the places that you go to when you're working, really, It's a lot of like showing up, sound check. You maybe get a couple hours to go cruise around. Like I said, in the wintertime, there's not a lot of time or weather might be permitting, So... And the older you get, the more you appreciate home and your family and your wife and your dogs and things like that. So it can be a little, especially guys with kids, it can be a little bit harder, traveling can be. We've been doing this for 10 years pretty much. We've been traveling the world for about 10 years now, or 8 years or something. And it's exciting and it's cool to experience different cultures, but at the same time, it's like we got back from Europe and everybody was like, how was Europe? And it's like, I don't know. I didn't really see it. You kind of see the inside of hotels and the inside of venues. It is really cool in the aspect that you can go places and find places that you're like, okay, I really want to come back and vacation here. So that, I think that's the best part of it, is that you can kind of travel the world and then be like, all right, Japan was amazing. I only had a couple days here, and I really didn't, there's so much more I want to see, so now I'm going to come back. Or you could go places and be like, all right, it was cool. I probably don't need to come back. I think that's the best part of it.
So it more like gives you a sampling of a place for wish list.
I would. That's a better way of putting it than saying, oh yeah, we get to travel the world and have time off and do all this cool shit. But the more you grow and the more successful you come, the more time you have to do things like that.
When it comes to having a family and that appreciation of home, can you go into some more detail about that after being on the road?
Yeah, the road is a love-hate relationship for me because it does get old, sometimes. But I'm very like finicky. Like I couldn't keep a job before this. I get bored really easily. Kind of a chameleon, like changing all the time, changing interests, changing things like that. So with this job and with being on the road, I can go out and be on the road, then kind of get burnt with being on the road, and then go home and then really enjoy home and really enjoy being in the studio and writing music, and then get burnt on that, and then kind of go back out and be refreshed out on the road. But I feel like being in a relationship, being in a healthy relationship, being in a band, it really, being in a band and traveling really does make you appreciate your family and your friends and what you have at home. And I think when you have a normal relationship, and when you have that, like, you're just constantly around somebody, say your girlfriend or your wife or something, every day you spend together, it's not bad to say, like, I don't care if it's your mom or your dad or your brother or your girlfriend or your wife, no matter how much you love somebody, if you spend every fucking day with them, you might get a little sick of each other. You know, I don't think people really just go, hey, I love you, but I'm going to go on this vacation by myself. Like, I think more people need to be open-minded with their significant others, of just like, if your chick just wanted to go to Europe for a couple weeks without you, don't take it personal. I feel like you should do that. The time off really makes you appreciate what you have, you know, and I don't think enough people realize that. There might be, I've seen some problems where it's like, oh, I feel like you guys are just sick of each other. You know, that's a really cool aspect of it. And then just seeing the success of the band, and I like this job because, you know, we'll go work for 2-3 months on the road, and then I can take a month off, and then you're just home that whole month, and you can enjoy, and you can do whatever you want. You can do side projects, you can go on vacations, you can just chill, rather than, you know, the Monday through Friday and then get Saturday and Sunday off. You really get a lot more time to enjoy home.
So do you find then you do have to take a break from anything music related for a period of time to get back into it?
Yeah, at certain points I think you do, but in the back of my mind I'm always thinking about music. It's kind of a fucking curse and a blessing. Like, it's just, I can't really turn it off, but sometimes I need to, you know. But I just feel like there's that something in the back of my mind that's looking at things and hearing things, and I'm always thinking about lyrics or melody or something like that, whether I want to or not. But there can be times where it's like, all right, I'm purposefully going to get rid of my phone, get rid of my laptop, go on vacation with my wife, and just not think about anything. And then when you come back, you know, you're fully rejuvenated, and you might actually come back with inspiration when you didn't even mean to, you know, because you weren't worried about anything. You weren't thinking about the next album. You weren't stressing about, you know, just shit that comes along with being in a band.
My sweet summer is gone. Now my sweet summer is gone.
When you get to that point, when you're either on tour or you're in the studio, where you kind of hit that brick wall and you lose your motivation in a way, is there a way besides turning everything off that you can find that motivation to continue doing your work until your next break?
Yeah, you can power through it. You know, you can definitely, it can be tough when you hit a writer's block, or just a creative block, or just things aren't inspiring you. Sometimes you really just need to sometimes you need to take a break, for sure. Super fucking healthy. We've sat on songs for weeks, months. Now that I'm older and I've been writing songs for a while, I think that can be really smart, is to just not force it, right? You can't really force inspiration, and you can't really force creativity. But on the same side, there's been times where I was like, no, I'm gonna fucking finish this. I don't want to. I'm not inspired. I'm not in a writer's block right now, but I'm gonna lock myself in the studio and I'm gonna get this shit done. And at the beginning, it might not be enjoyable, but halfway through, as soon as that one little fucking spark, as soon as that one spark will come and ignite something, all that feeling of being drained or not being inspired, it's gone. You know, so sometimes it is smart to just kind of hash it out, like kind of stay in it, keep your head down, and just kind of work through it. And sometimes you just need to throw your hands up and just say, let's not burn ourselves out on this. Let's just take a break and go enjoy it.
For the self-titled album, which was just released, I believe, in this past July, would you say this fell more into you have to lock yourself in a room and bust it out, or did this come a little bit more easily?
The way that we did it, you would think that would be how it came about when we... So this album, rather than getting one producer, we went and we just kind of like opened our doors to anybody. Anybody in LA or anybody that was visiting LA, we just put an open call, like, hey, if you're a producer, songwriter, or anybody, you know, that we respect or we like what you've done, we're down to work with you. So we worked with like upwards of a dozen, maybe even 18, I think, something like that, upwards of 20. Like, we got in with guys and sat down, and and started writing songs, but we found about 9 or 10 producers that we really liked, and it was like every day we were going and meeting somebody new. So every day it was like you had to learn the person's vibes, you had to learn the person's personality, we had to kind of tell them where we were creatively, kind of get on the same wavelength, and you'd think that that'd be really difficult, but it was surprisingly wasn't. It was surprisingly, we talk about it, being, man, are you burnt? Yeah, I'm kind of burnt. We'd be driving up, I have no ideas. Do you have any ideas? I have 0 ideas. Oh man, hopefully the guy has them when we get there. And we'd get there and we'd knock out a song, and it'd be super fun. So it was really refreshing and really easy, and I don't want to say easy, but it came more naturally than we thought it would with working with that many producers on one album. But the cool thing was at the end of the day, it was very cohesive. Once we kind of got this song Oxygen, once we got that song, that was the song that we would show all the other producers to be like, this is the direction we're going, and they'd be like, okay, got it. And all the songs I feel like are they match up well. All the songs are amazing, but even now when I hear that song, it's just the most solid song from the album for me, front to back. Every aspect of it is just makes me really happy, and it was really enjoyable. With Blueprint, the producer that we worked with, we got in. There was the line, the strange line, and we kind of threw us back to like listening. Me and Daddy used to listen to The Doors a lot, so we wanted to kind of make this almost odd, like ethereal, kind of vague, kind of weird, people are strange type Doorsy song, lyrically, to where it had a message, but the message was for you to decipher. So I think that was really cool. I really enjoy songs like that, being a fan. I don't like finding out what songs are really about. I remember I was watching a Storytellers, and it was on Coldplay, and Chris Martin was explaining where And It's All Yellow came from, and it came from the Yellow Pages. The Yellow Pages was just like sitting in his, right? And you're just like, oh, really? That kind of takes away a little bit of it. I like songs. I like not knowing exactly what the songwriter was writing about, because I can put my own personal twist on it, or I can take it how I think it should be taken, And sometimes it is cool to find out what songs are about if you didn't know. Oh, that's really interesting. But I like when people kind of put their own meaning to songs, and that's what this one was about.
For this album, in the past, you've referenced it as being, I guess, your time capsule piece, or the piece that's perhaps the most Dirty Heads sounding.
The funny thing is I'll probably say that about the next album. Every album, like other than Sound of Change, every album, I'm like, this is our best album. And I hope that I say that every single time. It's just a funny thing that you do as an artist. You're just like, even as a painter or any kind of creative job, anything that you're going to grow and progress at, you're always going to be like, well, this was better than last time. This is better than last time. This is better than last time. And your fans might they might disagree and be like, that was the best album. Your first album was the best album. Well, your first album is going to be your best album because you can never recreate your first album, because there's that magic of finding the band, right? And then there's people that are finding us now. So then this album might be the best album to them. So I feel like I hope that I am always saying that this is the best album, but as of now, it feels like it's the most Dirty Heads album, because we did take a departure on Sound of Change, and then that kind of freed us up and gave us some freedom, and kind of took a weight off of our shoulder to where we could really go back to what inspired us to start the Dirty Heads and the sound that we wanted to make, and that was really that fun, uplifting hip-hop reggae, sunny, feel-good music.
Now, on this album, you guys put a little bit of concept into the way you organized it, I understand, into more of a day and night theory, with 2 sides, for the playlist and vinyl generation being side by side there. So can you go into some detail about what you've noticed for either yourself or others' listening habits?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really an old soul when it comes to music, movies, just all old classics is so cool to me, and I love that vinyl is coming back. So that was a big part of it. Just picturing a kid or a listener being able to have that vinyl and just put it on and not worry about it, and if it's in the daytime and they're chilling in the backyard, they can just put it on that side and let it play. Or if they're in their room at night, they can just put it on the nighttime one and they can let it play. We've kind of curated. I love the fact that we've kind of curated what we think you should listen to in a certain time or aspect or what we think you should listen to in the night or the day. Like, we're kind of setting it up for you. And with the format of music, with playlists, you know, it just made sense, and it was something cool that we felt that we could connect with fans on. Like, hey, look, this is how we would listen to it. You know, this is how we would do it if we could put it in a playlist or put it on you know, on each side. And then it's so easy with technology today that we knew it wasn't going to like really hurt us in any way, because you can just go on iTunes and buy the songs you like and make your own, or you can go on Spotify and just pull the songs that you like and make your own playlist. So it really didn't matter. It was just something that we wanted to do, that we thought that was creative and kind of gave a little insight into where, you know, our minds on how this album came about and what we felt and what songs we felt would go together, you know, rather than, because it's hard. Sometimes you write an album and you're like, we gotta sequence this. The sequence may not be working. That's how it worked. Like, I don't know if I would have felt comfortable sequencing it without doing a day and night, because they were so cut and dry for me. It was like they felt so sunny, so I don't know if you, and then so dark and vibey, I don't know if it would have been easy for me to put a couple sunny ones, then a vibey one, then a dark one, and then a happy one, and then, you know, like it might have been jumbled to me. So to separate them, it made the most sense to me, and it made me and the guys, I think, the happiest and the most confident.
So would you say, from your perspective, at least maybe for your fans or fans of bands like you, that folks have overcome the concept of just listening to singles and are more into either listening to a curated playlist or listening to full albums again?
I think no matter what generation you're in, no matter how old you are, if you're that person, you're that person. You know, if you're that type of music lover where you really like to get immersed, you're going to find those bands, you're going to make those playlists, you're going to, and you're going to do it. And then there's other people that enjoy music, but maybe they want to be kind of guided. You know, it's just like, I play a lot of video games, right? I'm a big gamer. And there's certain games and there's certain friends of mine and there's certain style of players that really like to have their hand held. You know, I enjoy a game where you drop me in the game and you tell me where to go and you tell me what door to unlock and you tell me what gun to use and I can kill the boss and blah, blah, blah. And that's great. And there's other people like myself that just like drop me in the fucking game and don't tell me anything. Some people are going to want you to kind of curate their experience, and some people are going to want to figure it out themselves. And the whole single thing, I think, with the internet, that's just where it's going to go. You know, I think it's cool. I think it's cool now that you can just be inspired, go in the studio, write a song because you were feeling it, and fucking put it out a week or two later.
And final question, I'll leave this one up to you. Any final thoughts, anything that you think the audience should know?
Come to a show. If you're listening on the radio right now and you have heard the Dirty Heads and you've heard Lay Me Down, you've heard My Sweet Summer, you've heard That's All I Need, there's a lot more to this band that you won't find unless you go to a live show.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, man.
You have been listening to Recess with Spinelli here on WSPN, Saratoga Springs, New York, Hoxton FM, London, England, the International Radio Festival in Milan, Italy, and the New York State Music Blog. And today we have been speaking with Jared of the Dirty Heads out of Huntington, California. Their album of the same name is out and available now.
Here comes music to set your soul on fire.
That's all I need.